Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Now we can hear you. You're in the show.
Okay. Okay. Let me start over again. So this is Prophets of Awakening. This is our Sabbath class, 26th of November, 2022. Okay. The title of the class is The Heavens Are Above Brass. That's Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 23, part of the curses. We will go in on that and bring some clarity to it because it's very relevant to today. So I'm asking everybody to go to our YouTube channel, Prophets of Awakening, and check out our videos. Uh, there's a lot of information given, and the videos will connect dots for you and bring you into the truth of the scriptures, which is the Holy Scriptures, which is the Tanakh. And if you like what you're hearing and receiving on the channel, I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It'll be appreciated. And for those that don't know, this is a non-Messianic channel. We deal with the Tanakh and the Torah. And the Tanakh is the Old Testament, so-called Book of Remembrance. And the Torah is the first 5 books of the Old Testament uh, that was given to Moses on Mount Sinai by our Redeemer, the Lord of Hosts. Shalom and welcome to Prophets of Awakening and welcome to our Sabbath class. We're going to do our normal, usual, which is moment of silence, Sabbath prayer, Psalms. We do some current events. Then we're going to some need to know information and open up for some Q&A. Then we'll get right to the topic of the class, which is the heavens above or brass. Deuteronomy 28, verse 23. Okay, this moment of silence is for the Lord of hosts and all that he's doing to bring about our deliverance, our prophesied deliverance uh, in these last days. O Lord, righteousness and uprightness belongeth unto thee. Therefore we come before thee at this hour, seeking thy face, and looking for righteousness and uprightness, that we may walk before thee as thy servants David and Solomon and Samuel and Hezekiah did, that we may walk before thee in truth and in righteousness and in rightness of heart. Give unto us, O Lord, an understanding heart, that we may discern between good and bad. For we desire to walk after thee, O Lord, keep your commandments and your testimony and your statutes with all our heart and soul, to perform the words of the covenant that was written down by your prophets. O Lord, allow thy face to shine upon thy people. Hear our plea, hear and do, O Lord, and hide not thy face from us any longer, for we need you so very much at this hour. Peace be unto you. Okay? And with that being said, I was going to read out of Psalms, read the Psalms. Okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to read Psalms 37. Okay? This is true state of the wicked. It's a Psalm of David. Fret not thyself because of evildoers, neither be thou envious against the workers of iniquity, for they shall soon be cut down like the grass and wither as the green herb. Trust in the Lord, do good, so shalt thou dwell in the land, and verily thou shalt be fed. Delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart. Commit thy way unto the Lord. Trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass. And he shall bring forth thy righteousness as thy light, and thy judgment as the noonday. Rest in the Lord, and wait patiently for him. Fret not thyself because of him who prospers in his way, because of the man who bringeth wicked devices to pass. Cease from anger, forsake wrath. Fret not thyself in any wise to do evil, for evildoers shall be cut off. But those that wait upon the Lord, they shall inherit the earth. For yet a little while, and the wicked shall not be. Yea, thou shalt diligently consider his place, and it shall not be. But the meek shall inherit the earth, and shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace. The wicked plotteth against the just, and gnasheth upon him with his teeth. The Lord shall laugh at him, for he seeth that his day is coming. The wicked have drawn out the sword, and have bent their bow, to cast down the poor and needy, and to slay such as be of upright conversation. Their sword shall enter into their own heart, and their bows shall be broken. A little that a righteous man have is better than the riches of many wicked. For the arm of the wicked shall be broken, but the Lord upholdeth the righteous. The Lord knoweth the days of the upright, and their inheritance shall be forever. They shall not be ashamed in the evil times, and in the days of famine they shall be satisfied. But the wicked shall perish, and the enemies of the Lord shall be as fat of lambs. They shall consume, into smoke shall they consume away. The wicked borroweth and payeth not again, but the righteous showeth mercy and giveth. But such as be blessed of him shall inherit the earth, and they that be cursed of him shall be cut off. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delighteth in his way. Though he fall, he shall not be utterly cast down, for the Lord upholdeth him with his hand. I have been young, and now I am old, yet I have not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. He is ever merciful and lendeth, and his seed is blessed. Depart from evil and do good, dwell forevermore. For the Lord loveth judgment and forsaketh not his saints. They are preserved forever, but the seed of the wicked shall be cut off. The righteous shall inherit the land and do well therein forever. The mouth of the righteous speaketh wisdom, and his tongue talketh of judgment. The law of the God of his God is in his heart. None of his steps shall slide. The wicked watcheth the righteous, and seeketh to slay him. The Lord will not leave him in his hand, nor condemn him when he is judged. Wait on the Lord, and keep his way, and he shall exalt thee to inherit the land. When the wicked are cut off, thou shalt see it. I have seen the wicked in great power, spreading himself like a green bay tree. Yet he passed away, and lo, he was not. Yea, I sought him, but he could not be found. Mark the perfect man, and behold the upright, for the end of that man is peace. But the transgressors shall be destroyed together. Uh, the end of the wicked shall be cut off, but the salvation of the righteous is of the Lord. He is their strength in a time of trouble, and the Lord shall help them and deliver them, and he shall deliver them from the wicked and save them because they trust in him. Okay, so that was Psalms 37. It's a true state of the wicked. So, like I said, anytime you get in a pickle, you can read that. It'll give you some lift. Okay, so two things I want to shine light on. The first one is we can relate this to what's happening to us right now as the remnant of Israel. When you look at starting at verse 29, the righteous shall inherit the land and dwell therein forever. The mouth of the righteous speaketh wisdom, and his tongue talketh of judgment. Right? The law of his God is in his heart. None of his steps shall slide. And this right here, verse 32. The wicked watcheth the righteous and seeketh to slay him. We can witness to that for at least the 400 years, 1619 to the day. All they've been doing is sitting back watching us, finding ways to exterminate us, right? And it says the Lord will not leave him in his hands, nor condemn him when he is judged. Wait on the Lord, keep his way, and he shall exalt thee to inherit the land. When the wicked are cut off, thou shalt see it. So we see in the past, everything that was written right here came to pass, just like it's playing out the same way now. We was cast out over here because of our transgressions and among these wicked. And they didn't do everything under the sun. But he said that eventually, when the time comes, he's gonna cut them off. And we're gonna see it. It ain't gonna be something you're gonna contemplate about. He's gonna do it so clean, you're gonna know it's him. Same way he did to Pharaoh. And so the other one is verse 38. But the transgressors shall be destroyed together. The end of the wicked shall be cut off. So this is one of the examples about the New Testament, how they got us thinking like Gentiles, not thinking like Hebrews. So we got a whole nother interpretation of this word transgressors. right? And then it also says, and the end of the wicked shall be cut off. So what's been told us based on JC and all that, people that's sinning you wicked and you the transgressors. But let's go look at transgressors in the proper light. We in Daniel. We're gonna see what these transgressors are. Okay, Daniel chapter. Let me get it. Chapter. Okay. Yeah, there you go. I'm in Daniel chapter 8, starting at verse 19. These Greeks, right? And then when you understand, if you've been listening to or watching some of the videos on Prophets of Awakening, you know that the Greeks, the Japhet is not Noah's son, and that Japhet is Cain's descendants, right? Wicked. From the serpent started with Cain, and it came all the way down through the flood on the boat, and they Japhet. Like I said, the Creator told them to get two of every kind and put them on the boat. So he had to get a male and a female from Cain's lineage. So we're looking at Daniel chapter 8, verse 19. And he said, behold, I will make thee know what shall be in the last end of indignation, for the time appointed, the end shall be. The ram which thou sawest having two horns are the kings of the Medes and Persians. That's the second beast. 21. The rough goat is the king of Grecia, and the great horn between his eyes is the first king. This is the third beast, which is Japhet. That's where the Greeks come from. Javan, one of the sons of Japhet is Greeks. That's the Greeks. And then verse 22. Now that being broken, where four stood up for it, four kingdoms shall stand up out of the nation, but not in his own power. It's the Greek nation. Here we go. This is the definition of the word transgression right here. 23. And in the latter times of their kingdom, so it's a group of people, their kingdom, Greek kingdom, when the transgressors are come to a fool. These are transgressors right here, right? The transgressors are come to a fool, right? And the king of fierce counters and understanding dark sentences shall stand up, and his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. He shall destroy wonderfully, and he shall prosper, practice, and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people. So we see right here, the holy people come from Adam's lineage. The transgressors come from Cain's lineage. So the third beast finally show his head on through these four beasts through the Greek kingdom. And at the end of their kingdom, the transgressors, they cause abomination of desolation, which is the temple that was built by Adam's descendants. These transgressors. So let me give you another precept. I'm in 2 Samuel, right? Like I said, we looking at that the wrong way. They got us, and like I said, they're constantly making money off of these ideologies that they done gave us. Okay. So chapter 7, this is the covenant he made with David. 2 Samuel. I'm gonna start at verse 7. Everybody on Prophets of Awakening should know this by now. 2 Samuel chapter 7. So 2 Samuel chapter 7, verse 7. He sent, I'm gonna start at verse 4. He sent Nathan to go tell David about him building the house. It came to pass that night that the word of the Lord came unto Nathan, saying, go and tell my servant David, thus saith the Lord, shalt thou build me a house for me to dwell in, whereas I have not dwelled in a house since the time that I brought up the children of Israel out of Egypt, even to this day. But I have walked in a tent and in a tabernacle, in all the places wherein I have walked, with all the children of Israel spake I a word, with any of the tribes of Israel, whom I commanded to feed my people Israel, saying, why build ye me a house of cedar, Now therefore shall thou say to my servant David, thus saith the Lord of hosts, I took thee from a sheepcote, from following sheep, to be ruler over my people. This is the people that ascended Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob over Israel. And I was with thee wheresoever thou wentest. I'll cut off all thy enemies out of thy sight, and I have made thee a great name like unto the name of the great men that are in the earth. Now here we go, right here, verse 10. This is how Hebrews think. This is how the Creator think. Moreover, I will appoint a place for my people Israel, right? Right? That's one race of people. And I will plant them that they may dwell in a place of their own and move no more. Neither shall the children of wickedness, these are transgressors from Daniel chapter 8, neither shall the children of wickedness afflict them anymore as beforehime. So what it's doing is taking you back to the very beginning. It's a wicked seed line from Cain's lineage, and it's a righteous seed line from Adam's lineage. And the Lord of hosts, because he was there in the beginning, told Nathan to go tell David, yeah, I'm gonna bring y'all into a place, my people, and plant you, and I'm gonna watch over them because it's a wicked seed line, transgression. It ain't got nothing to do with no doing right or wrong or this or that. It's DNA and seed lines right here. So we see it right there. It means right there in our face. Okay, so let's look at that one more place. I'm gonna go to Maccabees and get off of this. Okay, so I'm in Maccabees. Make it plain. So it says, first Maccabees, right? This is the prophecy in Daniel coming to pass. It came to pass after Alexander of Macedon, son of Philip, who came from the land of Checham. These are Greeks, these are transgressors. Their DNA, seed line, had utterly defeated Darius, king of the Medes and Persians, that he reigned in his stead, and he had before reigned over Greece, Japhet. He waged many wars and captured fortresses, slaughtered the kings of the earth, and he made his way to the ends of the earth, and he spoiled a multitude of nations. The whole earth was quiet before him, and he became exalted, and his heart was uplifted. He mustered a very mighty army and ruled over the lands and rulers of the heathens, and they paid him tribute. Afterwards, he fell sick and knew that he was going to die. So he called in his distinguished servants who had been brought up with him, divided his kingdom among them, the Greek kingdom, while he was still alive. Alexander had reigned 12 years when he died. Here we go, right here. Transgressors. Just a proper understanding, rendering of the transgressors. Uh, his servants succeeded him, each in his own dominion after his death, and they all put on crowns, as did their sons after them for many years. And they did much evil on the earth. And there sprung from them a sinful shoot named Antiochus Epiphanes, son of King Antiochus. He had been a hostage in Rome, and he became the king in the 137th year of the Greek kingdom. They're going to be transgressions right there. But they didn't give you another interpretation of what transgression is. But these are the transgressions. They came into existence through wickedness, and they live upon the earth as wickedness. The Creator asked, the Lord of hosts asked Cain about his brother, why you kill your brother? Because he's wicked as hell, because of where he came from, his lineage. You're a transgressor. Okay? Any comments? Okay. So I'll break that down. So we're going to come and look current events, a little leave no information. And so I think from this point on, probably need to tie your shoes up. Okay? Here we go.
Sharing with
what and around the world. So apparently, it is being reported now that those who have received make up the majority of the C19. Interesting. Um, this news I didn't like hearing because, of course, we all have those that we know, family and friends. Some of you yourselves may have done this, but we all know those who have received what some are calling the. And so to hear that the majority of those that have passed on from this worldwide situation are those who did receive what some call the snake bite or the. And so I wanted to show you some of the headlines surrounding this and even what I found when I just Googled the topic. Someone shared this with me. Thank you to the person who shared this information with me. I appreciate those of you who do share. Even if I'm not able to get to your stories, I still appreciate it. And at some point, I just may. So continue to share. I do want you all to share this video as well, because there are those who are still lining up to get things, if you know what I mean. Especially I understand for certain things that is completely on them. But anyway, let me share this with you. Okay, so when I Googled this, this is what the headline said. So I just plugged the headline in there, and it says people who have received the jab make up the majority of those that are deceased. And when I type that into Google, as you can see, one of the top stories is on the Washington Post, and it says analysts or the analysis is this that C19 is no longer mainly a pandemic of the unvaccinated. Hmm. Here, Stars and Stripes says same thing. Vaccinated people now make up the majority of the C19 deceased in the US. They were more specific here in saying in the US. So I wonder why it's in the US and not worldwide. Hmm. That's an interesting point right there. Here, we on TV, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that's a news agency out of India or the Middle East. I'm just going to say the Middle East because I'm not sure where they are located. But here it says also that people who have received the jab are accounting for the majority of the in. Now, at first, they were saying that there was this massive number of people who did not. Now they're saying the majority are coming from those who did. Look at this Daily Mail. The majority coming from those who did. This one right here basically quotes what another outlet says. Washington Post admits that the such and such are the majority. Health and Economic Times, India Times saying the same thing that those who receive the jab make up the majority of the deceased. Scientific America, hmm. Now there says who is dying from this, but as you go into there, you look in the article here, the majority are the ones who have received the snake bite or the jab. Um, this is just what I saw when I Googled the topic. Now, here we have WeOn website. Here's the article related to it. It says that snake bite or jabbed individuals are accounting for the majority of the deceased in the US. And so it says a new study has found that around 58% of people who have passed due to the C19 in the United States were jabbed or had received a booster. So I'm not going to read these articles. I'm going to allow you to read them yourselves because there's a lot of reporting on this, right? Posts and okay, they're talking about this as well. It's the unjabbed. You see, it says for the first time, a majority of Americans that are passing on from the C jab received at least a primary series, the primary series, a number of them.
Okay, so as you can see right here is we got a situation going on because of what happened back in 2020 when everybody was instructed to deal with the jab. Now it's all backfiring on them. So, like I said, they keep forgetting that uh, the times that we in, and that you got to be very careful on every step and every decision you make now because we at the very end and Lord hosts and return, and he's dealing with the issues that and he's bringing forth the things that he said he's going to bring forth. So you got to be on your p's and q's. Okay, so yeah, shalom, 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 shalom. Okay, so this next video
Yeah,
is go ahead.
Leonard, I seen that video, man, with Deborah.
Right,
People dying, man. I know a few people that took the shot that got sick. My
right,
auntie, she got cancer, man, right after she took that shot, man.
right,
But yeah, these people, man, gonna start dropping like flies, man, because they compromise their immune system. And like the doctor said, man, that 3 to 5 years, no, was it 1 to 5 years, something like that, man, they're gonna start just dropping dead, like flies. And
right,
we're seeing it happen, man. We're seeing it
right.
happen. So,
And they playing it, they downplaying it.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
right. Yeah, appreciate that. Okay,
Absolutely.
so
Israel. 12. Let's get a little context. Yeah. 12 tribes of Israel. There was a unified kingdom. Kingdom was 10 tribes, and the southern kingdom was Judea, 2 tribes. And so we're the descendants, us Jews, from the Judean kingdom north. So they seceded.
The terminology, something I picked up from you was back then everyone was Israelites.
Yes, it was the house of
Jews were
Israel.
specifically from a specific tribe called Judea.
Well, the word Jew didn't
something
come
like
into
that.
reality yet.
Right.
But
we were the Israelite nation. So let's just for the general population that knows general history about this, you have the Egyptians, you have the you have the Israelites. Israelites establish a nation state of Israel, right? would it be called? Would it be safe to say
The Commonwealth,
the Commonwealth? What
a
the kingdom of Israel
Yeah.
under people know King David, people know King Solomon, and then everyone just starts to just get lost into. So now we are at the Civil War period in which the children, the descendants of King Solomon, began to bicker.
Yeah, taxes for the temple were too high for the north, so they seceded, made their own temple, and they went into exile. The Assyrian army came and exiled, which the Assyrian army was known to do. It was more cost effective than just going to war. They exiled the northern 10 tribes towards the far east, and many of them ran into the north, and some hit the sea on ships. And the Judeans stayed in the first temple period still of King Solomon in Judea for another period of time afterwards, just by themselves, which is where the Jew started to become a reality.
And this is
that was
two
all that was
tribes?
left.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yes, because it was Judah and Benjamin in the south, and you also had the tribe of Levi who lived amongst all the tribes, because Levi didn't own. So we have a Levite with us right now. The Levites didn't own land in
Wash my
Israel,
hands.
so they didn't have their own like place where they were just amongst everyone, because they were the
Interspersed.
teachers. Yeah.
Right. So this is actually, before we get into like the controversial stuff, this is just cool Jewish history.
Super cool, because especially the prophecies, back then said that one day we're going to unite in the future, and even the Vilna Gaon says it's a crucial unification to get to the redemption. So I just look at those prophecies as like a really good, Hail Mary that they threw up pass, and here we are in 2022 catching it.
The Hail Mary is an interesting choice of word there.
I was like, is that
Okay, so you probably saying why am I showing this, right? So it's a couple of things involved in that. Like I said before, when you go back looking at all the stuff that came out recently with Kanye West and all that, I was telling you how back on the video when he was first talking, he said that the 10 tribes is in Africa, and Judah, Benjamin, Levi, children of Jerusalem, are these Israelis that's over there in the land. And notice what he said. He tried to compare 2 sticks. That's in Ezekiel 37, but he said he's going to bring the 2 sticks together and make them one. They're trying to make it look like we all together as one people. But here go the trick. All you have to do is go and look at what happened when Jacob and Esau was born. He told us that one of them was born red all over, hairy red all over. There he is right there. He's sitting there with all of this, all of the verifications and all the signs of what was told to us about when Jacob and Esau was born. He's sitting there with all the features, but he's saying that he's an Israelite. And you notice how they are flipping that word Jew around, trying to connect it to Judea, and you can't connect that word J-E-W, Jew, with no Judea. That's what I mean. Just like I just showed you with the word transgression. They're giving you their synopsis. And 99% of the Negroes absorbing it. But that ain't what it means. Like I said, Jew and Israelite ain't the same, a whole different type of people. You have to understand that. So, like I said, the narrative, what you see them doing now is trying to combine. All of a sudden, no longer they trying to discredit us. They trying to say, yeah, we Jews, but it's the 10 tribes that's black. And the Judah, Benjamin, Levi is these Israelis that's over there. And what you see manifesting itself is he's bringing the 10 tribes, which is Ephraim, the black Israelites, back to the Judah, Benjamin, Levi, which is them. That's what all this been. It's been about that. Back in the day when they was going and got when they went and got the Falasha Jews out of Ethiopia, bringing them home, called Aliyah Project or whatever they called it. That's what they've been doing the whole time, knowing that this was going to knowing that this stuff, the Lord of Hosts and the prophecies in the Old Testament and the Tanakh was going to start manifesting themselves. And they trying to usurp them. But it ain't working. Okay? Not for the people that's truly been awakened. It ain't working. Yeah. So any comments? Okay. So here we go with some need to know information. Like I said, brace yourself.
Professor, and this is the moment of truth.
You was gonna stand on it.
He said, I stand.
And I'm gonna stand fast on it. You was big and bad, had the chest all out.
Because
Now-
he said, I have an army behind me.
Yes, what happened to you? Where'd they go?
Talk about ask and ye shall receive. Shannon Not So Sharp asked, where was Kyrie Irving's army at? And they showed him. Now, before we begin, I want to make sure that everybody's put on notice. Let's not do any spitball fighting about whether or not you agree with anyone's religion or not. This is about their actions, not about anyone's beliefs. The Hebrew Israelites saw that someone who is aligned with them was under attack, so they showed up to support him. And he has refused to denounce them. Nor should he, by the way. Kyrie Irving should not be denouncing the Hebrew Israelites at all. And just for the record, you can say what you want about the Hebrew Israelites, but you can't deny that this is something that Black people need to do a hell of a lot more often. To me, this display was a teachable moment. The Hebrew Israelites clearly wanted to make a demonstration of their discipline and their organization, and they did. The white media was beyond shook. Now, you got the white media being led by the New York Times trying to say, well, there was only about 100 of these guys. It looks like it's a little bit more than 100 to me. But of course, that's par for the course, be it the Census Bureau or the U.S. Park Service with the Million Man March. They're always claiming that there's far, far less Black people than there really are because they're terrified to admit to the numbers. And when you had this many Black men lay siege to the Barclays Center, the white media was terrified to cover that. They did this right in the heart of New York City. I want you to think about that. The white media sees white supremacists with tiki torches, and they're all over that. Even after Heather Heyer was murdered, they were still there. But seeing a small army of Black men marching through New York City to support another Black man who refused to bow, and they don't even want to touch this. In the media capital of the United States, no less, at the very arena where the most talked about athlete on the planet was making his return.
If I was there where you left, right. Mother was there where you left, right. Uncle was there where you left, right. Auntie was there. Your mother and sister was there where you left. That's the reason you left.
You had the very hate group that the white media accused Kyrie Irving of promoting right outside. Well over 100 of them marching and chanting, and the white media didn't dare show it to the public. They didn't dare even approach them. These men were on code with one another. I don't care what you think about their beliefs. I'm asking you to realize that white power is afraid of what it saw them do. You see, unlike some so-called gun coalitions, where you have some well-meaning but otherwise misled Black people following an ex-rapper who was clearly an agent, the white media was willing to give big coverage to that so-called gun coalition. Why, even Joe Scarborough and Mika the Bigot Brzezinski ran a story about them on their morning sideshow. Well, this event should have gotten 50 times that much coverage, certainly deserves it. Problem is, these guys aren't agents. You don't have to agree with someone's beliefs to give them credit for having their act together. The white media had no problem having the Hebrew Israelites on TV for interviews last year, but all of a sudden the white media doesn't want them on because the subject now is them directly confronting white power in its very home. Last time, the white media's game was to try to make them look ridiculous, but it's a little difficult to make this look ridiculous. This scares white people. It certainly petrified the white media. And this illustrates what I've always taught you about how to know when you got the bastard shook. When the white media or white power in general is beaten, don't look for them to give a formal declaration of surrender. Black people have to stop waiting for that. White power is never going to come up with the confession. You'll know when they're beaten by the sound of their silence. When they're all out of moves and they know you've got them cold, they'll shut up. They didn't count on Kyrie's supporters showing up or on them showing up in numbers. They didn't think this would happen. So now we see the white media trying to go into damage control mode. They're trying to put the right spin on all this. And of course, the New York Times decides to lead the charge on this one. The same New York Times who did not dare show up at Barclays Center to actually talk to the Hebrew Israelites, certainly not even to take photographs of them. Even on their own website story about this, they didn't dare have any photos. This event happened in New York City, the Times home base, not far from their building, but apparently they didn't have a way to get any reporters there or photographers, even though the Hebrew Israelites have been out there for 2 nights straight. Instead,
Okay, any comments on that? Okay.
Shalom. He is so right. When all of it hit the fan, about Kyrie, the media had no problem with beating him down and saying you're promoting this and that. So when they see us rise together, they have always been afraid of us, right? But when they see us rise together and stick together, they really, really become afraid. They're silent because they're in the background trying to figure out their next move on how to tear us down. But what they don't know, is we got the Lord of hosts on our side.
Right. They've been forever. They've been forever. Like I said, with the scriptures and everything else, they've been forever behind the scenes manipulating everything. That's why you have to you got to do your due diligence and make sure that you get the proper information and go out your way to get it. You don't just take nobody word for nothing. You do your own research to find out, because it's a whole nother. The scriptures being unfolded right in front of our Facebook. We can't see it because they eliminated it. They eliminated part of it. What happened? We do. Nobody knows that many people showed up and surrounded that arena in that fashion right there. They're not showing that, because of what it's going to do is going to multiply. Just like everybody was watching, didn't know nothing about the Ron Dalton Hebrews Negro video, but once it was exposed, everybody watching it now. It's the same way with that. So they trying to control the narrative. But like I said a long time ago, the hard lesson that I learned is these angels over your head. That's the reason they angels. They over your head. You can't control no narrative when you're dealing with angelic beings that the Most High created. So when they come and they got something to do, the Most High send them to do something, there ain't damn thing you can do about it. It's just that going back to the topic of the class is that heaven has been closed off to the Israelites. It's like brass. We're gonna go into that later on, but that's over with. We can see that they returning, whereas when we could never do nothing right, now everything we do is right. You can see that manifesting itself, and that's what the Esau and these powers to be see that. Everything's starting to happen right. Okay. All right. Anybody know any other comments on that? Okay. I'm opening it up now for some Q&A. Comments, anything. Anybody got any comments or questions about something they heard or something they saw on YouTube or on one of these other platforms and they want to bring it to the light? Okay. I got something right here tied to what I just showed you.
And they wanted to find who is the father of modern humans. So we know women have two X chromosomes and men have an X and a Y chromosome. So they studied the Y chromosome and they traced it back 60,000 years to East Africa.
You're saying God knows what happened to the black race. He knows how they wound up over here, and God is going to reimburse the black people for all their trouble and all their labor.
I came into this village and the first word I heard was a Hebrew word. How is that possible? How is it that the Lemba are speaking Hebrew?
The Lembas are the original Hebrews, and they were scattered, as you know.
Towards DNA evidence and the work of historians and scientists to prove that black people were part of the Israelite community. The Bible proclaims the world's first man, identified as Adam, was a black man from Africa.
So in South Africa, in many parts of South Africa, you find the Lembas were actually Hebrews.
Hebrews, so the Lembas claim to be descendants of ancient Israelites?
He's saying they know that there is a high percent of Jewishness in the Israeli government would not allow to release this. That's inconceivable.
They know.
People of color are starting to wake up to the fact that they are the true Hebrews of the Bible. And because of this fact, the world is stunned.
The Bible is Black History explores DNA evidence and the work of historians and scientists to prove that black people were part of the Israelite community. In the Bible, the book claims the world's first man, identified as Adam, was a black man from Africa. Next guest is the book's author. Dr. Darren Williams is a pastor in Indianapolis and a Detroit native. Welcome to American Black Journal.
Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, so this is fascinating research.
Yeah.
This is something that I've heard people say for a long time, right?
Sure.
That black people are part of the original human tribes, including in the Bible. But the idea of trying to prove that through DNA and records, I think, gives it an added dimension.
Yeah. The book advances the notion that the people who made up the Israelite communities, both in the Old and New Testament, were people of color, namely black people. We know that the world's first man, that the along with IBM, came together and they put together the Genographic Project. It was headed by Dr. Spencer Wells and it concluded in 2005. It was a 10-year study and they went worldwide, Dr. Spencer Wells and his team, collecting DNA evidence from indigenous communities worldwide. And they wanted to find who is the father of modern humans. And so we know women have two X chromosomes and men have an X and a Y chromosome. So they studied the Y chromosome and they traced it back 60,000 years to East Africa. And Dr. Wells and his team concluded that the first modern human was a black man in East Africa, whom the Bible identifies as Adam.
The Lemba tribe in Africa is proof that the.
And what happened? Now, they invited me to Israel.
Okay.
Yeah, I went there. Then actually, what happened that they sent me some, they said you should come here. The same moment, also Rabbi Jonathan Bennis sent me to Israel.
Okay.
Just as a friend said, I want to buy a ticket to go to Israel.
Okay.
So I went to Israel. So I told the person who was my contact that the samples you took. So now, as long as we are coming here, we have to meet. So I met him in Jerusalem. He said, my friend, those samples you brought here, they have caused a stir here in Israel. I said, why do you say so? I said, no, look, you see, there's some blacks there from Ethiopia who do the cleaning the hotels and all that. You see, that boy you're seeing there, his percentage is about 26%. But on you, it's 70%. 70%.
That's significant.
But we cannot release this information. Because look, there's no land. And you are
the 5% of Jewishness government,
they know,
would not allow to release these results to the public.
They know.
That's
They know.
Inconceivable.
They know.
It appears that the powers that be want to play games with the truth, but God knows, and he will tell his people through the scriptures what the truth of their heritage is, and the rest of the world will take notice. I know thy works in tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich, and I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. So there are those who are not Jews. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee. So there are those who claim to be Jews who are clearly lying, but this is not unusual. People have lied to the black race for years.
Inside Washington's Museum of the Bible, a single volume that is like no other. The so-called Slave Bible. Remarkable not for what's in it, but for what's not.
So about 90% of the Old Testament's been removed and about 50% of the New Testament's been removed. To put it another way, a normal King James Version has 1,189 chapters in it. The Slave Bible has only 232.
Missing are chapters and verses that might have encouraged uprisings. Book of Exodus, redacted. No story of Moses demanding Pharaoh, let my people go. Gone is Galatians. In the verse, there is neither bond nor free, for ye are all one in Christ Jesus. No Jeremiah, one to him that useth his neighbor's service without wages.
What they've left in are verses such as Ephesians 6:5, which is the famous verse, slaves, be obedient to your master.
Looking at this Bible, it's hard to tell that anything's been taken out of it.
That's correct. I mean, it looks like a normal book. For many enslaved Africans, this would have been the first time they were exposed to the Bible.
A Bible selectively edited to instill obedience, using religion to underpin the horror of slavery. When people encounter this exhibit, what lasting impression do you want them to leave with?
So why the deception? And why do God's people not know who they are to this day? Well, the pages of scripture will tell us plainly what had happened to us in the past. And it shall come to pass that thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. But it shall come to pass that thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command thee this day. But all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. So then, you see that the curses came upon the people of Israel because they failed to keep God's commandments.
Now, if anyone who doesn't know, a priest is a specific family clan of the nation of Israel who come from Aaron, the brother of Moses, who was the first priest. And anyone descended from Aaron has the status title priest. And we found that these men in this village in South Africa called Lemba, L-E-M-B-A, carry this genetic marker. So, another area, something big happening, is in Nigeria. You have the Igbo people, or Igbo, pronounced either way. There's 40 million of them. Also Christians, like I spoke of Israel very easily, putting back or adopting the rules of the Torah without all the pagan that they've been practicing for hundreds of years. There's been books written about it from scholars in Nigeria, from scholars from the Jewish people. And where it gets interesting is, in America, there was a slave trade. And a lot of the slaves, a very high percentage of them, came from Western Nigerian ports. And in America today, you see a very large movement of African Americans who say that they're the real chosen people, that they're the children of Israel, they're the Judeans. You know, so what are they just trying to create an identity for themselves because they were slaves, or is there really something here? And the answer is most likely there is something there.
So then, in wildest effort to repent, is it to hide the fact that the apostles are black or people of color? Is it to hide the fact?
Okay, any comments? Okay, yeah, so like I said before, all this stuff is happening simultaneously, but they just showing you what they want to show you. But you know, it's that time. They can't hide it because there's too many alternatives that you know, with social media and everything, that is going to come out. And Most High, he already told us that when he do these things, you're gonna know it. It ain't gonna be hidden from you. You're gonna know it. So everything that's been set up was set up just for what's going on right now. They can't hide it like they did back in the 70s and you know, 50s and all that. There's no way to hide it. You can't sweep it under the rug now. Okay. So like I said, it's now the time to start getting everything right and backtracking. Everything you come across, do your own research. So to sharpen your own self. You know, don't latch on to somebody because you like what they're saying. You know, you gotta do your due diligence. Okay. So with that being said, the topic of this Bible Sabbath class was the heavens above are brass, right? So I'm gonna go look at it. I'm trying, what I'm doing is shine the light on how to rightly divide things. So you see right here that this is coming out of Deuteronomy 28, which is the curses. One of the reasons why what a lot of Israelites are doing, going and looking at the curses, and they're able to identify through these curses that who we are as a people, because we fit these curses perfectly. So where I'm at right now is in Deuteronomy 28, verse 23, and it says, says, and thy heavens that are over thy head shall be brass, and the earth that is under thee shall be iron, right? So let's go back up. I'm gonna read 22 and the verse above and the verse below. It says, the Lord shall smite thee with a consumption and with fever and with an inflammation and with extreme burning and with sword and with blasting and with mildew, and they shall pursue thee until thou perish. And thy heavens that is over thy head shall be brass, and the earth that is under thee shall be iron, and the Lord shall make the rain of thy land powder and dust. From heaven shall it come down upon thee until thou be destroyed. So notice that it says in verse 22, they shall pursue thee until thou perish. Well, I just broke down to use two different types of people came out of Genesis chapter 1. Out of Genesis, it was Cain's descendants, wicked ass people, transgressors, and Adam's descendants. So he telling you right here, these wicked folks gonna end up on top, and they're gonna pursue thee till you perish. Same thing he told David. I'm gonna plant you in the land of milk and honey, and then I'm gonna watch over it. So these wicked ass people, can't come and try to uproot you. And later on in that same chapter, he told David that if your children listen to me and obey my laws and my statutes, then I'm gonna do well by them. But if they don't, I'm gonna bring these wicked ass people, these transgressors, born in the transgression, and they're gonna do exactly what they're doing right now. That's all scripture. But we're gonna focus on Deuteronomy 28 and 23. And thy heavens that is over thy head shall be brass, and the earth that is under thee shall be iron. So what he's telling you is, we know that Enoch was taken up into the heavens, and Enoch revealed to us what was up there. The creator, our creator, Yahweh, his throne is up there. 7 heavens. 7 angels is up there that he formed from the very beginning. So when we notice that in the past, these angels, they all of them got responsibilities and obligated to what's going on earth. So we notice, and we're going to go there in a minute, but we notice in the captivity in Egypt and the captivity in Babylon, these angels was at work. Wasn't no Yahushua, you know, we don't know Yahushua there. He wasn't dealing with these angels was at work, right? But we see now today, look at all the atrocities that's happening. That's because the heavens been closed off. That's what he's talking about in 28, 23. The heavens, which is all the Enoch told us was up there, been closed off from us. So these angels bring visions. These angels bring dreams, and they understanding and all that. They bring that. So we see that in full operation, what we're going to deal with in a minute. We see all that in full operation in Egypt, because Pharaoh having dreams. Joseph there. Joseph dealing with dreams. Joseph dealt with the butler and all them. So the heaven is wide open. Ain't no it's not brass. So we see in Daniel, they in the Babylonian captivity. The heavens are wide open, and we see the angelic activity when you understand how all that works. But we don't see it over here because it's been shut off. So let's look at that. Let's go into it. Okay, we're gonna pick it up in Egypt, Joseph and Potiphar, right? It's in 38, Genesis 38. We're gonna just shine a light on some of these things to make a point. So 38, you see that okay. Yes, 39. 39. So in 39:7, and it came to pass after these things that the master's wife cast her eyes upon Joseph, and he said, lie with me, but he refused. And unto his master's wife, behold, my master would have not what is with me in the house, and he have committed all that he have to my hands. There's none greater in this house than I. There's none greater in this house than I. Neither have he kept back anything from me but thee, because thou art his wife. How can then I do this great wickedness and sin against God? Okay. So this is what I was talking about when they say transgression. The Israelites, it's not in them to do that. But you got some people that they come out the gate, they transgress. So we see what Joseph did right here. So anyway, we know that going back to Joseph's brothers, what they did to him, and then he brought Joseph into Egypt. Well, Joseph was in the dungeon based on what happened with him and Potiphar's wife, but heaven was open, and he used the butler and the baker. They had dreams, so these angels brought the dream, and then he used that to Joseph to decipher the dreams, and then Joseph deciphered the dreams, and it was and he let them know that when you get released, to let the Pharaoh know there's a man down here that can decipher dreams. So guess what? The Pharaoh had a dream. An angel came to him and gave him a dream in the middle of the night. And he couldn't, nobody in the kingdom of in Egypt could decipher the dream. And so that's when it was made known to the Pharaoh by Joseph in the dungeon. So this, like I said, these angels at work. And that's what these folks don't understand about. They're over your head. The only reason they was able to manipulate what they did with the Old and New Testament and all the stuff they've been doing, all these atrocities, is heaven was closed off. But we see now it's not closed off. The time they came, we can see them in operation now, just like they was in captivity in Egypt and captivity in Babylon. We see them in operation in those two captivities. But we know that Israel, as a nation, came to an end, and they was cast off. And that's what Deuteronomy 28 and 23 is talking about. Okay, so to keep on going, we see that Joseph had a word, right? When in 41, it says, okay, let me look at it. Let me get it. Okay, yeah, it is 40. Yeah, Joseph and his words. The Pharaoh gave him the prophecy, and then Joseph rightly divided it. And then 20 says, and it came to pass, this Genesis 40 and 20, came to pass the third day. It came to pass the third day, which was Pharaoh's birthday, that he made a feast unto all his servants, and he lifted up his head of the chief butler and of the chief baker among his servants, and he restored the chief butler unto his butlership again, and he gave the cup unto the Pharaoh his head. But he hanged the chief baker, as Joseph had interpreted to them, yet did not the chief butler remember Joseph, but forgot him. So everything that Joseph had told, that these angels had brought to the butler and the baker, was revealed to Joseph, and Joseph revealed it to them. And then all of it came to pass that Joseph had seen, right? So it's like I said before, none of this stuff could have manifested itself if Joseph wasn't aided from heaven, from these angels. Okay. So I'm gonna keep going to let's see, 41. Okay, yeah. Then Pharaoh have another dream. Like I said, all these dreams are signs that the Most High at work, or the host at work. So you don't see that now. Well, back we see it now, but when we first came here, when we first cast out of the land of Israel, we didn't see none of that because it was closed off. So Pharaoh have another dream, and Joseph interpret that dream, and then from there, Joseph ended up becoming second in charge, ruling over the nation of ruling over the land of Egypt, right? A Hebrew, right? Okay. So then we go to the Babylonian captivity, right? With Daniel, okay, and then chapter 2 of Daniel, we see that. Let me get it. We see chapter 2, the fiery furnace, right? And like I said, you got to keep in mind, ain't no outside, no sun there, and none of this. Okay, so the Pharaoh had a dream. I'm gonna read some of it. In the second year of the reign of Nebuchadnezzar dreamed dreams. This is your cue right here. The heaven is at work, because he can't have no dream unless an angel is commanded and sent down for him to have a dream. Well, with his spirit was troubled. See that? And his sleep break from him. Then the king commanded and called the musicians and the astrologers, the sorcerers, Chaldeans, for to show the king his dream. So they came and stood before the king. And the king said unto them, I have dreamed a dream, and my spirit was troubled to know the dream. Then spake the Chaldeans to the king in Syriac, O king, live forever. Tell thy servant the dream, and we shall show the interpretation. Right? So we know the story, right? That he had to go get Daniel, just like he had to go get, just like the Pharaoh had to go get Joseph. They ended up having to get Daniel, and Daniel was raised up to second in command, the same way Joseph. That's because of Lord of hosts, and the heaven was behind him, right? So we go to chapter 3 in the Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the fiery furnace. It says, I'll read some of that. Wherefore, at that time, certain Chaldeans came near and accused the Jews, the Israelites. They spake and said to the king Nebuchadnezzar, O king, live forever. Thou, O king, hast made a decree that every man that shall hear the sound of the cornet, the flute, the harp, Sabbath, the pastry, the disclaimer, and all kinds of music shall fall down and worship the great image. And whosoever falleth not down and worship, that he should cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. And there are certain Israelites whom thou hast set over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These men, O king, have not regarded thee. They serve not thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. Then Nebuchadnezzar, in his rage and fury, commanded to bring Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Then they brought these men before the king. And Nebuchadnezzar spake and said unto them, It is true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, do not ye serve my gods, nor worship the golden image which I have set up. Now, if ye be ready, that at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, the flute, the harp, the Sabbath, pastry, and the disclaimer, and all the kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the image which I have made. Well, but if ye worship not, ye shall be cast the same hour into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. And who is that God? Who is that God that shall deliver you out of my hands? So notice what he said. Who is that God that shall deliver you out of my hands? So we know the story. And Shadrach and Abednego let him know, that they weren't going to worship their God. They had their own God that they had to deal with. So they ended up being put in the fiery furnace, right? And then while they was in the fiery furnace, verse 25 says, he answered, right? Goes 24. Then Nebuchadnezzar, the king, was astonished and rose up in haste and spake and said unto his counselors, Did not we cast 3 men bound into the midst of the fire? They answered and said unto the king, True, O king. And he answered and said, Lo, I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt. And the form of the 4 is like the Son of God. See that? Then Nebuchadnezzar came near to the mouth of the burning fiery furnace and spake and said to Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, Ye servants of the Most High God, come forth, come hither. Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came forth unto the midst of the fire. So notice right here, right? He looked and he saw 4 people in the furnace, right? Notice he ain't called the 4th one. See that? He called Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. He can't deal with that 4th one. So 27 says, the princes, the governors, and the captains, and the king counselors being gathered together, saw these men. Same thing now. The princes, the governors, the captains, the kings, the counselors being gathered together, saw these men upon whose bodies the fire had no power, nor was hair of their head singed, neither were their coats changed, nor the smell of fire was passed on them. So I read that for a reason, right? So Most High, the Lord host made a statement that it's not gonna be no doubt at the end when he shut all this down, it's not gonna be a doubt who done it. So these men was in a flaming hot furnace that was burning 7 times hotter than a normal fire, and they was taken out of the fire in front of everybody without no smoke on them, none of that. So there was no doubt who done it. The Pharaoh, he took him out in the sight of all of them. He opened up the Red Sea, brought the Pharaoh out in the middle of the Red Sea in the sight of everybody, drown the Pharaoh. There was no doubt who done it. So he tells us in Ezekiel 37 that he's going to raise off the Israelites up out of the graves. A whole big old army. It's no doubt who done it. It wasn't JC or Yahweh Shai that brought him out in the middle of the water in the Red Sea. It wasn't Yahweh Shai that when he got him out of the fiery furnace. So how in the hell is going to be Yahweh Shai when he opened up the graves? It's the same person. Like Nebuchadnezzar just asked the question, what God you got that's going to deliver you out of my hands? Well, let me answer that right quick. I'm in Isaiah. Okay. Isaiah 43 says, ye are my witnesses, said the Lord, and my servant whom I have chosen, that ye may know. See that? That ye may know and believe me and understand that I am he. Before me there was no God formed, neither shall there be after me. I, even I, am the Lord, and besides me there's no Savior, right? Redeemer, right? The Redeemer is one that delivers and don't deliver. 12, I have declared, I have saved, I have showed when there was no strange God among you. Therefore ye are my witnesses, said the Lord, that I am God. Yea, before the day was, I am he. There is none that can deliver out of my hands. I will work, and who shall let? They got the answer right there for Nebuchadnezzar. This who can deliver them out of their hands. The Redeemer that they hid from the Israelites. Not Yahweh Shai. Okay? So, like I was saying before, you go on through what's going on in Babylonian captivity with Daniel, and you notice that Daniel had a dream of a tree. Daniel had a dream of the image, the golden image. The handwriting came on the wall. All these activities coming from heaven, and the angels from above. Ain't no brass. It ain't closed off. So it says the beast. Then you get the vision of the four beasts. Then you get the vision of the ram and the he-goat. And then we see that he Daniel himself come in contact with the Redeemer himself, Lord of hosts. In Daniel chapter 10, let me read that. Okay. Some people might know that, but some people might not didn't hear it right when I said it before. But so he says, in the third year, this is Daniel chapter 10, verse 1. In the third year of Cyrus, king of Persia, a thing was revealed unto Daniel, whose name was called Belteshazzar, and the thing was true, but the time appointed was long. He understood the thing and understanding and had the understanding of the vision. In those days, I, Daniel, was mourning 3 full weeks. I ate no pleasant bread, neither came flesh nor wine in my mouth, neither did I anoint myself at all, till 3 whole weeks were fulfilled. And in the 4th and 20th day of the first month, as I was by the side of the great river, which is Hedekal, I lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a certain man, right? Same one that came in the fiery furnace, right? Clothed in linen, who was girded with a fine gold of Upas. His body was like that of beryl, and his face as appearance of lightning, and his eyes as lamps of fire, his arms and his feet like the color of polished brass, and the voice of his words was like the multitude. That's what Daniel finally encountered the Lord of hosts, right here. So all this stuff going on in the Egyptian captivity and in the Babylonian captivity, right? So we see in Daniel chapter 28 and 23, it's not like the Babylonian captivity. And it ain't like the Egyptian captivity, because he said that the heavens above are going to be like brass, and the earth beneath thee is going to be like iron. You ain't getting nothing. So that in itself explains the atrocities that happened to us. We ain't getting no assistance. So let's look at get a precept for that in Lamentations, right? Okay. And like I said, you got people that reading over this stuff. But so let's look at it based on what he said. I'm gonna read. I'm gonna start in chapter 2 with Lamentations. How have the Lord covered the daughter of Zion with a cloud in his anger? See that? Cast down from heaven unto the earth the beauty of Israel, and remember not his footstool in the day of his anger. So that right there, verse 1 tell you what's going on, but we ain't connecting the dots, right? Then 2, the Lord hath swallowed up all inhabitants of Jacob, and have not pity. See that? He have torn down in his wrath the stronghold of the daughter of Judah. He have brought them down to the ground. He have polluted the kingdom and the princes thereof. He have cut off in his fierce anger all the horn of Israel. All the horn of Israel. He have drawn back his right hand from before the enemy and burned against Jacob like a flaming fire which devoured round about. He have bent his bow like an enemy. He stood with his right hand as an adversary and slew all that was pleasant to the eye in the tabernacle of the daughter of Zion. He poured out his fury like a fire. So let's look at that. This for all of the folks that got all these side comments and say the Lord ain't gonna do this and Lord ain't gonna do that, basing their ideologies off of New Testament. So it says in verse 3, he have cut off in his fierce anger all the horn of Israel. He have drawn back his right hand from before the enemy. He have burned against Jacob like a flaming fire, which devoured round about. Here we go. He have bent his bow like an enemy. He stood with his right hand as an adversary. It's against his people. And slew. See that? Don't fumble with that word. He slew all that was pleasant to the eyes in the tabernacle of the daughter of Zion. He poured out his fury like a fire. So we see in chapter 18 of Leviticus that he brought the Levites to himself to be ministers in the temple. This is what we're killing right here in the temple. He have bent his bow like an enemy. He has stood with his right hand as an adversary. He has slew all that are pleasant to the eyes in the tabernacle of the daughter of Zion. He poured out his fury like a fire. These Levites. We know what he did to David, friend. Okay? The Lord was an enemy. He has swallowed up Israel. He has swallowed up all her palaces. He has destroyed his stronghold. He has increased in the daughter of Judah mourning and lamentations. He has violently, taken away his tabernacle as if it were of a garden. He has destroyed his places of assembly. The Lord have caused the solemn feast and the Sabbath to be forgotten in Zion. He have despised in his indignation, his anger, the king and the priest. See that? Okay. The Lord have cast off his altar. He have abhorred his sanctuary. He have given up the hand of the enemy, the walls of her palaces. They have made a noise in the house of the Lord as in the day of solemn feast. The Lord have proposed to destroy the walls of the daughter of Zion. He have stretched out a line. He have not withdrawn his hand from destroying. Therefore he made a rampart and the walls to lament. They languish together. Here we go right here. This is for the naysayers. Her gates are sunk into the ground. He have destroyed and broken her bars. Her king and her princes are among the Gentiles. The law is no more. Her prophets, here we go. Her prophets also find no visions from the Lord. Like I said, this is Deuteronomy 28:23. You see angels, dreams, and everything going on in captivity in Egypt and in Babylon. You don't see that over here, right? So he says, the elders of the daughter of Zion sit upon the ground and keep silent. They have cast up dust upon their heads. They have girded themselves with sackcloth, and the virgins of Jerusalem hang down their heads on the ground. So let's look at that. So it says, The elders of the daughter of Zion sit upon the ground and keep silent. Why they keeping silent? Because they know the Lord. They wasn't like we are ignorant when the Most High is in operation. They know it was him. They ain't had shit to say. But today, everybody think they got something to say. It says, the elders of the daughter of Zion sit upon the ground and keep silent. They have cast up the dust upon their heads. They have girded themselves with sackcloth. The virgins of Jerusalem hang down their heads to the ground. My eyes do fail with tears, and my bowels are troubled. My liver is poured out upon the earth for the destruction of the daughter of my people, because the children and the suckling swoon in the streets of the city. They say to their mothers, where is the corn and the wine? When they swoon on the as the wounded in the streets of the city, when their souls were poured out into their mother's bosom. What things shall I take to witness for thee? What things shall I liken to thee, O daughter of Jerusalem? What shall I equal to thee that I may comfort thee, O virgin of daughter of Zion? For thy breach is great, like the sea. Who can heal thee? The prophets have seen vain and foolish things for thee, and they have not discovered thy iniquity to turn away thy captivity, but have seen for thee false burdens and cause of banishment. Okay, so we see right here exactly what he's talking about in Deuteronomy, and we still living it right now in Deuteronomy 28 and 23. It's a major difference. It's a major difference in the Egyptian captivity and the Babylonian captivity compared to what happened to us now and what's happening right now as we speak. And so looking at all that, like I said before, rightly dividing it, and ain't no Yahushua that's gonna fix it. All that was concocted by these same people right here. Took away the God that I just read about. Took him out of the story, out the picture. Gave us this one, the one that a lot of us dealing with today. Can't seem to get rid of. Get them out of our psyche. So, anybody have any comments or questions about anything they heard? Okay. No comments? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Okay. So, yeah. So, I mean, I was pondering on that last night, and I was like, okay, maybe I need to get this out here because of, like I said, it's a major difference, and it's a reason why what happened to us now, and then based on what happened in the two major captivities in Egypt and in Babylon, because Daniel tells us that the Lord, the same one that came and delivered Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, said that he was gonna he's in the nation that came to a fool, and he's gonna bring these wicked ass people, transgressors, and they was gonna do everything they done to us. He said they was gonna do it to us. But like I said, they all set the timeline, and that's why these people like Harry Rosenberg and all these other Edomites able to do what they're doing and manipulating the history, because a long time ago, way back in Alexandria, Egypt, they manipulated. They concocted the New Testament and all that, and so now they're able to certain people, you know, if you're fumbling with the Creator, fumbling with the Lord of Hosts, then you know they can manipulate you. But if you grab hold to the truth and deal with it the right way, same way our forefathers did, you won't be able to be manipulated. Yeah. So, like I was saying, he brought this understanding and truths to these prophets, and the prophets brought it to the people. So he was doing his part. It's who you are and where you at with the Most High, whether you're gonna receive it. But he's gonna bring it right He's gonna bring it right to you. You got to be able to rightly divide it and be able to gauge it. You know, it ain't on your cousin, you know, or your sister or your auntie to rightly divide. It's on you to rightly divide. You know, but it's gonna come right to you. You ain't gotta do nothing. You just sit back and drink a latte. He's gonna bring it right to you. You know, you do with it what you want. Okay. Well, like I said, I'm opening up for the comments. Anybody got anything they want to say? Okay. Give me a minute, then my flying come up. Got some bad weather down here. Okay. Okay. Give me a minute. Anybody got any comments?
I keep accidentally going out, man. I'm on my phone.
Oh yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Okay. Yeah, so with that being said, nobody had no comments, I'm gonna give you some of this lion, and we're gonna pick back up this evening for the evening Shabbat class at 6 o'clock to close out the Shabbat. So like I said, I enjoyed everybody this morning, and looking forward to seeing y'all again this evening at 6. Shalom. Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom. All right.
Shalom.